Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. The general subject is education. We try to keep track of the educational facilities that are in our area and find out what they're up to and any difficulties they're having and anything they're proud about. So today we have our periodic visit with the Executive Director of UTSI, Dr. Robert Moore. And so we've got a little catching up to do with UTSI, and there are things going on. So, Dr. Moore, thanks for joining us. We appreciate that. And been about a little over a year since we talked together. Generally, how are things going? What's your summary of UTSI these days?
It's a very positive time. It really is. We just the facilities itself. We're in the middle of a capital maintenance improvement, a facelift, upgrade of safety measures. This will be going on for the next 6 or 7 months. We are in preparation for a celebration next year, which will be the 50th year for UTSI.
Okay.
We've already started that. We're in the middle of transition, revitalizing the Institute. This week, we just brought on board the, 5th new faculty member that we've hired this year, this academic year.
This academic year.
And we have 2 other searches for faculty in progress, and we'll be interviewing for one of those within the next month.
Okay.
So it's very positive.
Well, very good. We need to get into a little more detail on that. So let's take a short commercial break, and we'll do just that.
The highest standard of trust offers a sense of safety and comfort. It's established over time. You know when you see it. You know when you feel it. There's a standard of trust in healthcare. It's the Joint Commission Gold Seal of Approval. In 2003, Life Care Center of Tullahoma voluntarily achieved this accreditation and maintains it still today. Life Care, meeting a higher standard because residents matter most.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
We're talking today, folks, with Dr. Robert Moore, who is the Executive Director of UTSI, and we want to get up to date on what's going on out there. So, Dr. Moore, what's cooking now? What's your biggest thrust?
The Institute is very, very rapidly evolving into a center for aerospace, mechanical, and systems engineering, and it's aimed in collaboration with the Air Force Base to drive 2 major initiatives with the Air Force. One is in systems engineering and acquisitions, or weapons systems life cycle. Life cycle for weapons systems, from creation to death. How do you make decisions? How do you get the right information to make decisions that at the early part don't influence something negatively later on? And we are actually hiring, one of the positions we're looking at in faculty is that kind of person with experience in complex organizations and systems. The other is an on and off hypersonics initiative. Sponsored out of the Secretary of Defense office. And I think it's a realization that we have real problems and real enemies across the Pacific, and we need to be able to deliver a punch in a hurry.
And by hypersonic, tell the folks, what are you talking about there?
That's pushing Mach 5 and 6.
Okay. And altitude-wise?
Suborbital. It's still
Suborbital.
It's still air breathing.
So you're primarily looking for speed?
Yes. Yes.
Well, okay. Very interesting. Well, tell us a little bit about. I mean, you've got research going on. You've got academics, and you have been in the space. Well, the Space Institute to some extent, and aviation. So, how are things changing? What are you looking at in terms of the outcome of that? Is it
well? We had actually, when I first got here, it was a period of stagnation. There really were only a few who were moving forward, and now with the new hires we've made, there's 4 of them aerospace engineers. These are very, very energetic people with incredibly strong research programs.
Have they been academically? Is it an academic background?
They come out of an academic background. They may have experience in national labs, but they've done postdoctorates and research faculty positions in an academic environment. So they know what academic environment is, which is very important. A lot of people don't. You know, that so much is expected of a faculty member, and somebody who really does it well, that's a special person.
Oh yeah. Well, teaching seems to be something we're born with. You know, if a good teacher, that is. Well, you mentioned that you were having you were in the process of hiring 5 new faculty members, and so are those all in the same general area, or are there differences?
3 of them. This is 5 that are now on board as of this week. Some came in the start of the fall semester. 3 of those are what we would call aerospace engineers. And they are involved in things like combustion, fractures, something called computational fluid dynamics, which is simulation for fluid movement like air. Those are the ones that we hired to support the hypersonics initiative. Another is Dr. Steve Brooks, who just came on board this week. We hired him away from NOAA. He's an atmospheric scientist, and that will allow us to continue doing our mercury and other elements in the atmosphere, which that's a measure of fossil fuel burning.
That's a part of what you used to refer to as your aviation systems group. You've now morphed a little bit.
That aviation systems is in the process of morphing over into what we would call flight test engineering. There's a greater market. It's a unique major, it's a unique curriculum. There is a major need and market for that. Aviation systems itself, we kind of lost the market because the military started their own programs. And so the market just died. Whereas we're building a market with flight test engineering. The other hire that we brought on is systems engineering and engineering management. And so we're building that part up for the initiative.
Who are you doing this work for? Is this in conjunction with the research center, or are you working for somebody else?
It's a combination. These people will be applying to National Science Foundation, to NASA, to Missile Test Center out of Huntsville, the Army at Redstone, but hopefully they will be developing programs where they can work with the people at AEDC. and that was part of the goal.
Is this possibly leading toward some additional mission for AEDC, or is it?
AEDC is looking for ways to do things better and do them more economically, and we have entered into a new realm of interaction with AEDC. I mean, it's a very, very good cooperative interaction. And we're looking at how we can work with them to everybody's benefit. And we've got stuff going now that's really something special, where we have our own propulsion research facility and disconnected monitoring remote control center that's state of the art. And then now we have contractors like Boeing and GE who come in to use the jet engines that are Air Force property, and we've learned how to contract with the Air Force effectively. And so what you end up with is a control room that has Boeing or GE people from Arnold and people from UTSI working side by side. It is really, really special.
Good, yeah. Sounds that way. You mentioned also in the introduction that you were going through a facelifting. What is, describe that a little bit more.
Well, if anybody had been to the Institute in the past few years, they would notice that even the big glass lobby was getting a little out of whack. There was the steps, the granite steps had been moved around. The terrazzo on the landings was breaking up. It was crumbling. Well, that's all been redone. It's now slate. It's very pretty. If you haven't been to our dining facility down on the lake, you've missed something, because we've done a lot of that over, and the big glass front is scheduled to be replaced. The main building itself, we're undergoing incredible changes in fire alarm system. So that's been awful.
Yeah, that sounds messy.
That has been awful. The noise is incredible. But overall, and plus I've got folks looking, what do we need to clean up for next year? We're going to have our 50th anniversary.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that. Yeah, 50 years is, I think that may come as a little bit of surprise to a lot of folks, and you're hoping to make something out of that.
I think it's going to be very special. I mean, the Institute was actually created September 49 years ago, or it'll be this coming 50 years in September, a year from now. And you think about it, close to 2,500 graduate degrees have been earned there. Incredible research over the years has been done there. It's impacted everywhere. It's been a special place, and we're bringing it back. And so we actually, it kind of dovetails in with this, but we've just hired a new development director who I'm going to task with running this celebration.
Yeah.
She's coming on board the 15th of this month. So, I mean, and she's good, and I'm sure she'll be visiting you.
Yeah, well, no, we'd be glad to hear from her, yeah. So is this kind of going to be centered around September, your actual anniversary date?
There will be something major.
A year long?
I don't know yet. In other words, I have a feeling it will be concentrated around September, but there may be things during the year.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right. We need to take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll come back and find out some more.
Who needs this modern world? I can live just fine out here without the road rage and boy bands. Of course, I might miss my Charter HD with football on ESPN and Walking Dead on AMC. ESPN and AMC. And, well, Shark Week on Discovery HD. But that's all. AMC, ESPN, Discovery, TBS, and Comedy Central HD. But that's it. Except for HBO HD.
Charter now has over 100 HD channels and more brilliant HD shows on demand than ever.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Dr. Robert Moore, the Executive Director of UTSI, and they have some good, interesting things going on there that are very important. There's been a lot of interest, well, always has been, I guess, trying to take a lot of the research that's going on and make more of it produce something of a commercial value that would in turn, I suppose, help generate some more money for research, called commercialization, I guess. And I know the military agencies and NASA have always been interested in pushing that, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But you have some of that going on too, I think. And
we do.
If I remember, is your research foundation out of Knoxville is very much involved in this and interested. So is that part of a university-wide thrust?
Well, what's happened is it's hard to explain, but a university itself really functions to do basic research. And if something can come out of that, then it's slightly different and slightly difficult to work within the university. So what we've done is, working with the Research Foundation, we created a not-for-profit technology development company or entity it's centered at UTSI, and I've spoken to this over the past 2 years. It was extremely difficult to get this thing going, but it is now started, and its function is to take intellectual properties, ideas that are at a more advanced level of technology development, in other words, than the basic level that universities look at, and help develop those ideas and properties, pushing toward commercialization. And in other words, that's now working. That's Dr. Ahmad Vakili.
Well, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Sounds like you're saying this is kind of a 2 or 3 step operation.
Yes.
The basic research folks are not the ones that you should expect to produce something commercial. You've got another group that picks up the basic research.
That's actually right, but what we've been trying to do over the past 15, 20 years is to get the basic research people to think at another level. Engineers do that automatically. Other scientists don't necessarily do that. They think in terms of this.
They're having fun with the science.
Right, with the science question. Yeah. And so we lose a lot of opportunities to develop products, properties, and commercialize things. And so this new entity we've got, which is the Center for Advanced Scientific Support and Engineering Technology, or ASSET, and then the actual name is ASSET.10, but it's a new concept for this university.
Okay.
Other universities have this, and they have, like Georgia Tech, and that does hundreds of millions of dollars worth every year. We'd be happy to do 1 or 2,
yeah.
But still. So we're hoping to work with people who have ideas, who may be on the base, and they can come work with us. We have employee loan agreement processes in place where we can do that. And if we have UTSI faculty who want to develop a technology, then they can contract with Asset.
Okay. It sounds like something you said earlier, that this organization was really, you were also taking research from that's been done at Knoxville.
Yes.
And trying to take it to the next step.
Yes, we can do that.
On the part of all of the research
right.
operations.
Well, Asset is, it's hard to define what it is. It's a wholly owned subsidiary. In some paragraphs, that's what it says, of UT Research Foundation. In others, it's called an affiliate. I'm not certain what it is. But anyway, it is not part of UT. It's part of UT Research Foundation.
Ah, okay.
And so it can do things that the university cannot do because of policies that are in place. And it's also not subject to open records. So we can work with companies in a secure fashion.
Ah, sure. Sure. Well, that's interesting. So I guess that would that kind of be the basic idea, that you could take something and develop it to the point of interest in a commercial organization and a regular business organization, and have them pick it up and go on from there.
That is, one goal would be to do that. Another would be to develop it to a certain level and then have those people commercialize it themselves by setting up a company of their own. And so the idea is just to develop.
Yeah, okay. And I guess if you're providing this kind of a project to a commercial organization, I guess you would hope to get something out of that, probably in a licensing fee. Is that the way it would probably work?
Yes,
Yeah.
it would. In other words, we're in the process now of working with UTRF, UT Research Foundation, to determine who is going to handle disclosures and patent processes.
Right.
And that's moving forward. We're actually making some quick progress with that.
Oh, good. Anything you can say generally in terms of the kinds of things that you're presently working on?
Well, right now we do have a company that has set up, and Dr. George Murray, he was here with me a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And he has, he's running a company it's a larger holding company, but we've worked out mechanisms where that company is functioning in our property, in our buildings. It's associated with molecular imaging or molecular I'm at a loss for words right now, but in other words, it's the ability to grab like metals, or you specifically design.
Sounds like it, yeah.
You specifically design polymers that can trap, whether it's gold or something else, you know.
Right.
And that.
Huh. Okay. Well. So you have a couple of things going in that direction already, and let's go back for a minute to the aviation side of the business. You seem to be morphing some there into some a little bit different focus than you've had before. Is that? Did I understand that correctly?
Well, yes, it is. The idea of having aviation systems has been a master's level program that fits in what's called the technology mode. It's been a technology program. It's served its purpose for a good many years, but with the military setting up their own programs, that market has just disappeared. It's just not there. So what we've been morphing that into is flight test engineering. These are people who companies like Boeing and others really are interested in, because they know, they are being trained specifically how to work with the engineering aspects of flight. And very excited with this, and the fact that we're going to be rebuilding that program as an aerospace engineering program.
Yeah, okay, very good. Well, guess what, folks? As we always do, we've run out of time. So let's take a short commercial break and we'll have to wrap up.
Mark, you've won just about everything there is to win in racing. What's next?
I'd like more people to know about ER Extra.
The emergency room at Harton Regional Medical Center?
I just want them to get the best care they can get.
That just gets me right here, Mark.
Maybe you'd like to pay them a visit.
ER Extra at Harton Regional Medical Center.
ER Extra. Extra fast, extra easy, extra great.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We're back, folks, and we've been talking today with Dr. Robert Moore, the Executive Director of UTSI. And UTSI has some really exciting things going on. So, Dr. Moore, you got something you want to say to the folks, including maybe an invitation?
Yes. No, I mean, things really are exciting. Morale is up. Positive things are going on in all different aspects. Our facilities are being cleaned up, enhanced, and we got a birthday coming up, and
a big one.
A big one. That'll be next year, and I hope you get a chance to come and participate. This is not a small deal. It's a big deal.
Oh yeah. Well, then we'll have to pay attention and help you with the PR on that. Who is the? You mentioned that you have a young lady coming in this month who will.
We have a new development officer coming on board the 15th of this month. Her name is Denise Cox. She's very, very experienced and an extremely capable development officer. And we're just excited to get her on board. We haven't had anybody in this job for over 10 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, all right. Thanks very much for taking the time to join us. And it does sound like there's some fun things there that we'll want to keep up with. So with that, folks, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.